There isn't really a universal best car for everyone since different people have different needs and different preferences. But in this video, we'll try to come up with a list. And of course, since I'm the one making this video, this will be based mostly on my preferences. For me, I want something that I'd be attracted to, something that would make me feel good whether I'm inside driving it or outside looking at it. Personally, I prefer sedans, coupes, pickups, and PPVs, but I'm also open to other vehicle types, except maybe vans and MPVs. Maybe when I have kids, I'll consider them, but since I'm a bachelor, I'll give them a pass for now. Anyway, this is my criteria. Number 1 would be exterior design. Number 2 would be interior appointments. Third is performance. And a close fourth would be practicality. 5 would be modding potential. Now, I'm not really a fan of keeping cars stock, so I want something that has good upgrade potential. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's start this list. Okay, so first category, 600,000 pesos to 800,000 pesos. Okay, so if you're buying your first car, this is probably the price bracket that you're looking at. You can't forget about performance because you can't get that at this price. At least if you're buying brand new. At this price, it's all about value for money. Anyway, my number 1 choice would be the Chery Tiggo 2. It sells for just 750,000 pesos, and at that price, it is quite loaded with features. It has faux leather seats, it has a pretty decent infotainment screen, it has cruise control, and I also think that it looks pretty good. It's also quite practical, because it's a crossover, you can carry a lot of luggage at the back, and you also have plenty of ground clearance for driving on rougher roads. If you're unsure about the brand, they offer a 10-year or 1 million kilometer warranty. Reliability is never really a sure thing, even for the most popular Japanese brands. But warranty is something that's tangible and more predictable. At second place would be the MG ZS. It has faux leather seats. It has a big 8-inch screen with Apple CarPlay, and I think it also looks pretty good. For those who'd rather have something Japanese, I think the Honda Brio is also a pretty good choice. It is pretty bare, and with 90 horsepower and a CVT, it is not particularly sporty, but at least it looks sporty. I'm not sure if kids still use the word cool nowadays, but I think it looks cool. It has that racer boy look of the 90s Civics. While those cars that I just mentioned are pretty good for the price, they're not really that fun to drive. If I were to buy something that I wanted, I'd buy a used Hyundai Genesis Coupe. You can have those for around 600,000 pesos to 700,000 pesos now. I almost owned one before. Someone offered to trade the Genesis Coupe for my Ford Ranger before, and I still regret that I didn't take the offer. Anyway, the 3.8 produces 350 horsepower, it is rear-wheel drive, and it has a limited slip differential. I think it's one of the best bang-for-buck sports cars in the used market. $1 million to 1.3 million. At these prices, you can buy a decent mid-range pickup already. I think you can't go wrong with any of the mid-range pickups in the segment, whether it's a Hilux G or a Ford Ranger FX4. Personally, I would go with the Ford Ranger FX4, mainly because I like how Rangers look, and it also has leather seats, but I also think that the Hilux G is a good choice. Number 2, I'm not really into crossovers, but I think the Geely Coolray is pretty tempting. It has 177 horsepower. It has a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox. It has a very nice looking interior, and it has plenty of tech. Number 3, if I had a family, I think the Chery Tiggo 8 is also a pretty good choice. It can seat 7 people. It has a pretty nice interior. It also has macho proportions, and it has that 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. As for my actual choice, I would go with a Nissan 350Z. You can probably get a local unit for around 1 million pesos, or maybe even less. 1.4 to 1.7 million. At these prices, you can buy a mid-range PPV already. My top pick would be the Ford Everest Trend. For 1.72 million, you get leather seats, a power liftgate, you get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you get a macho-looking midsize SUV. My second choice would be the Ford Ranger Wildtrak. It is the most feature-packed pickup in the segment. It also has 210 horsepower, and I also like the way it looks. My third choice would be the Mazda 3 Sportback. I love Mazda's Kodo design, and I think the Mazda 3 Sportback has one of the nicest implementations of the Kodo design that I've seen. The interior also looks very nice. It looks like a car that was designed by artists who are passionate about their craft. As for the used market, I would get a BMW E92 335i. You can get one for around 1.4 to 1.5 million. It has about 300 horsepower, but with the right tuning, it can make as much power as the M3. Also, it's a 2-door, but it has rear seats, so it is relatively practical. And it also has that BMW badge. 1.8 to 2.1 million. The Ranger Raptor would be my top pick, hands down. The Ranger Raptor is the most badass looking truck out there. I also got to test drive it off-road, and it was one of the most fun things that I've done on 4 wheels. It is also quite practical. It can seat 5 people, it can carry loads, and it also has a relatively fuel-efficient diesel engine. My third choice would be the Subaru Wrx Manual. It is only my second choice because it is less practical than the Ranger Raptor, but it has 265 horsepower under the hood. It has plenty of tuning potential, and I think it's the best sporty sedan that you can buy at this price. As for my second-hand choice, I would go with the 6th generation Mustang Gt V8. You can probably get one for around 2 million pesos, or maybe even less. 2.6 million to 3.2 million. At this price bracket, desirability is what's most important. If you're gonna get a car at this price, it better be something special. My first place would go to the Ford Mustang Ecoboost. It may only have a 2.3 liter engine, but it has 310 horsepower, and it is relatively fuel efficient, at least for a sports car. It also has rear seats, so it is relatively practical. At second place, I'd put the BMW 330i M Sport. It has 258 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque out of a 2-liter turbocharged engine. It is also rear-wheel drive. Since it's a 4-door, it ranks high on practicality. It is also a BMW, so it ranks high on interior quality. Next would be the Nissan 370Z Nismo. It is only a 2-seater, so it scores low on practicality, but it ranks high on performance and desirability. It is one of the most recognizable sports cars out there.
In 800 meters, keep left.
Okay, so off the top of my head, those are the best cars per price bracket for me. Now, like I said, what's best for me may not necessarily be the best for everyone, so type down in the comments below which cars you think are the best per price bracket.